Greetings, beloved of God. Welcome back to another episode of Defragmenting Faith. I am Reverend Valerie Austin, speaking to you on behalf of myself as a private citizen, as someone who happens to have a theological education and background in ordained ministry. Today, I want to pick back up our multi-part series that speaks to the idea of creating from chaos. We have all felt the effects of our current environment of chaos intentionally manufactured by the current administration. But how can we become creators in times of chaos? How can we overcome, override, and pave a path towards creation instead of feeding the chaos? How can we become creators of our own internal peace and then creators of a world that we want to see while living in an environment intended to only breed more chaos and disruption? Before we launch into this discussion, let's take a moment to center ourselves so that we can come at this discussion from a clear head and open heart space so that we might redraw our focus toward imagining the reality, the world that we want to create together. And I will also link in the description box my Creating from Chaos meditation that I put out a few weeks ago in case you need a more robust meditation to really clear out some of that toxicity. For now, we're going to take a moment to sit or stand up straight. Bring your full awareness to your being and feel present with your body, allowing yourself to notice any aches or tensions present, any emotional weight, any nervousness, angst, or anxiety. Notice for a moment, check in with yourself. Just notice the state of your being and bring that into the light of awareness. Allowing in your mind's eye, and you're invited to close your eyes if that helps, allowing in your mind's eye for your entire being to be bathed under a gentle, loving, and safe golden white light. Allowing that light to fully surround your being, expanding out in all directions, above your head, below your feet, fully submersed in this warm, kind light. Take a moment now to notice how it feels for these gentle rays of light to shower your being. Just stay here for a moment and allow yourself to notice. Now, while still holding this image in your mind's eye, begin to also connect with your breath, still feeling the light soothing your skin. And now also just listening to the air coming in and out of your lungs for a few cycles of breath. Now, as you take your next inhale, begin to gently mouth or whisper the word I. And on the exhale, mouth or whisper the word am. Now rest your focus here, only here. Imagining the light beaming gently upon you, breathing in I and breathing out M. Stay here for as long as you would like. Feel free to pause this video for a few moments if you're finding relief in this meditation. And when you're ready, send out a word of thanksgiving. And open your eyes as you are now invited to bring your awareness back into the present moment and back to the topic at hand. Okay. Now, remember, you can always come back to this quick meditation whenever you're feeling overwhelmed. It can serve as a way to reconnect you to your still point, give you clarity when you need to charge ahead in your day and get things done, or before you embark on a creative task. It's good to just clear for a moment. And please remember that therapy is a great tool. Remember that there are lots of experts and mental health professionals out there that can help you work through things during this difficult time of chaos. So if you're experiencing any mental health complications or issues, please feel free. It's needed. We all need to do our work. So today, I want to have a brief discussion on the psychological tactics being used on the American population, and to a large extent, the whole world, by this current administration. Most of us know this by now, but it's important for us to call it out by name. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I call these tactics psychological warfare. I believe that if we can name it, we can formulate a plan for how we're going to overcome it, both personally and collectively. So since this is one of the main tactics used by this administration, let's get some clarity around the definition of the term. According to Merriam-Webster, psychological warfare are things that are done to make someone, such as an enemy or opponent, become less confident or to feel hopeless and afraid. That sounds familiar. Britannica defines psychological warfare by the use of propaganda against an enemy supported by military, economic, or political measures. Such propaganda is generally intended to demoralize the enemy, to break their will to fight or resist, and sometimes to render them favorably disposed to one's position. Okay, so we all see this happening. We are living through this in real time. Take a breath. Now, I know that this labeling of what is happening in and of itself, this term, can cause anxiety. So take a moment to connect with the light bathing and I am meditation as much as needed during this discussion. This attempt by this administration to overwhelm our nervous systems by doing one major thing after another, so that not only journalists and the media are overwhelmed, as they don't even have the time to break down the information and have thoughtful, democratic discourse, but also us as normal citizens just trying to live our lives and engage and respond as responsible citizens are overwhelmed. But let's go a bit deeper for a second. They would not feel the need to wield this tactic against us if they did not see us ordinary American citizens as powerful and able to make an impact. Able to not just say no and derail their plans, but also to create something much more wonderful that benefits all of us instead of just the 1%. They see us as a threat. They see you and me as a threat. You know who else was a threat to empire? The person and the way of Jesus, the Christ light. One man and his friends changed the course of history, and the empire put him to death because he was such a threat. So, on this Holy Week, this is just a reminder, because I know that you already know somewhere in your being that you are inherently powerful as a divinely created being. But we all need to hear these words again and again. And don't just hear me, grapple with it until it's embedded in your soul, my friend. Beloved soul, you are powerful. And it is my belief that each one of us carries the capacity to hold copious amounts of divine light. Your essence emanates God stuff. And it's time we rise to the occasion in which we are living. But we start by taking really good care of ourselves. We start by helping our nervous systems to regulate as an act of resistance. Let me say that again. We start by taking really good care of ourselves as an act of resistance. We take good care of ourselves to nurture that divine spark within, that it might grow and give birth to new creations. Because as creations created in the Creator's image, we too are creators. This I believe to be at the core of humanity's spirit. And that spirit, though it's been tampered down again and again by empire, we will rise into who we are created to be. And it's time now to arise into the will, the way, the consciousness of the Christ. With this spirit, we can change the world. We not only create something new and wonderful, but we say, no, we are done with the control of empire. We are done with the immoral corruption. We are done with the human rights abuses, the financial abuse, and the list goes on and on and on. We are done. And while standing against these things, we simultaneously put our energy into what we stand for, which is a fair and just society that is safe for all people. Feel into the energy and imagery of that for a moment. Feel into the energy of what a society would be like. What would it feel like to live in a society which is fair and just and safe? By overwhelming us, as the definition stated, they want to demoralize us, disrupt our ability, our nervous systems, and disrupt our access to our personal power, and even disrupt our ability to connect with the divine, our right, mind you, as God's children. They want us to throw up our hands and say, what's the use? They want us to believe in our smallness. They are frustrated by our will to continue to state the truth, to organize, and to create collective power and dissent. They will do what they can to invite us into complicity. As individuals, if we ingest these stories one after another without allowing the chance for processing or the observance of due process, such as what we should be seeing take place in our legal system and our processes to catch up with and respond to each decision, the information will put us in a state of overwhelm. I really like the way therapist Mickey Atkins speaks about this in her video, How Propaganda Manipulates You. I have that video linked in the description box because I feel like it's very much worth a watch. She has some great advice on caring for yourself and navigating this time, and she's just really interesting and entertaining to listen to. Those of you who are sensitive to colorful language, she does use that. So, if it's for you, go ahead and check it out, or if that's not for you, that's fine as well. But I think she is great and has some great advice and commentary. Now, our regular practices of self-care, which can help us regulate, are ways to stay in it for the long haul. This doesn't mean we put down or disengage. It's super tempting to just disengage and be in our own space and just not even stay aware. And that's not what I'm talking about doing here. I'm talking about taking time to tap into our power, to clear out our energy, to connect with God, to connect with ourselves, so that we can make our engagement and contributions to creation more powerful and effective, you see. As we saw on April 5th, many of us are charged. As organizers say, over 1,300 hands-off rallies of all sizes occurred, and I heard numbers reported up to 5 million around the world. These rallies were protesting a huge range of things coming out of the Trump administration, as there are endless things to protest, right? There's more about this in the NPR article by Juliana Kim, which is also linked in the description box. But this movement, and this is movement, and it's movement forward in the direction of creation, which can quite often include destruction of the old ways, of the way of the empire, right? This movement, it's everyone focusing on what we want to create with love in our heart for future generations, for this world, for the planet herself. It's focusing on pushing back in our areas that we feel called to, that we have energy and momentum around. It's looking around at the chaos and beginning to see what's possible from it, what new creations could emerge if we focus on it and put our energy appropriately in those areas. It's per AOC's recommendation in her video, What's Happening Now and How You Can Take Action, also linked in the description box. It's dividing and conquering. It's taking advantage, as she says, of the strategic advantage of our numbers. And I quote, "When millions of people do tiny things, we can disrupt these systems." This is a longer video. And like I said, it's from a few months ago, but there's some really good stuff in there from AOC. And she talks about how this administration, Elon Musk, these energies feed on our fear. The empire wants to keep us controlled and feeling small, and she charges us to not give it to them. So we have to be willing to do the work to both guard our peace and move forward in creative action. And we have to be able to sustain this momentum, okay? There's another hands-off protest coming up on April 19th, this Saturday. And you can check out www.5050.1 to get more information about what's going on in your area. Don't give away your power. Don't give it away. This psychological warfare, by my estimate, is also inherently spiritual warfare, attempting to interrupt, disturb, or distract each of us from our inherent connection to the divine, which this type of psychological disturbance inherently does because we are whole beings and every part of us is connected to everything else. Body, mind, emotions, and spirit all affect each other in health and holistic well-being. So when we live in this sort of state where we're being bombarded as we are, it's really easy for our focus to be turned off or away from our connection to our inherent power, to God, and to one another in community. This is problematic if we fall into this trap for our health and well-being. And it's also problematic for our ability to respond with presence and clarity and inspiration and truth. So we have to remember, a couple weeks ago, I shared the pie analogy in my first video. We have to know when to turn things off, when to get clear in and of ourselves, when to nurture and nourish ourselves and get rejuvenated, recharged, healed, so we can get back in touch with our personal power and move forward in that energy. Believe you me, they do not want us in a state of empowerment. But we are. We're doing the thing. And we got to keep doing the thing. So we prepare and plan and discipline ourselves and our minds to focus on that which we can create first in ourselves and then in the world around us, connecting into community, coalescing power. We decide collectively what we're willing to allow. We have the numbers. We have power. So in the face of such chaos, well, this chaos could be considered ground zero for creation. If we have the eyes to see and the ears to hear the possibilities, but let us extract the chaos from within so we can see clearly without. Like a master artist looking around at all of their supplies, looking at spilled color and ripped fabric to bring together a canvas of possibility. Thank you for watching, folks. If you find value in this content, please subscribe, like, share, and if you want to help support this channel, feel free to check out the donation possibility at the link below in the Buy Me a Coffee link. Until next time, remember to take care of yourselves, remember the light, and the I am are always there. Peace be with you.